I saw an article, Rob, if you can go to this, and the president's timepieces. I don't know if you've seen this or not. We have the story right here. So if you can zoom out, presidential timepieces, look at presidents' luxury watches, okay? And you get to judge to see how their taste in their watches is. Keep going. Go lower when it shows the pictures, Rob. Go a little bit lower. Okay, there we go. So Joe Biden has, what is that Rolex right there? It's a Datejust
41 Jubilee.
Okay, go to the next one, Rob.
Omega Speedmaster.
Okay. So far, what do you think about his taste for watches?
I think it's very basic and plain, and these are core pieces of anyone's collection that's into watches,
very
right?
fitting,
And they're
very
also very subdued, and they're modest.
Makes sense. It fits him. So
Speedy is an iconic watch. Another iconic watch from Omega.
This is an iconic watch.
Seamaster and Speedmaster are two of the most iconic watches from
Not that expensive.
Omega. Not expensive at all.
But it's something that you ought to have in your collection.
Not that one, the Speedmaster above.
The one above it. Can you go back above, Rob?
Yeah, that one.
That one right there. Should have it in your collection is what you're saying.
You can buy them on a secondary pre-owned anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one, Rob. Keep going. How about this one?
Seiko. It's a $300 Seiko. Again, this is part of staying humble. This is probably something that was given to him by somebody. Carries some
meant.
Mind you, this is the watch that almost killed this watch industry back in 1969 when they invented the quartz watch. You know that, right?
Tell me about it.
So you had the quartz crisis in 1969. The Japanese came out with the Seiko. And remember, when it comes to watches, while people think that the main thing is aesthetics, innovation, and things like that, the number one thing every watchmaker chases is accuracy. That's why you have all these tourbillon watches, triple tourbillons, and so on and so forth, right? That little thing almost single-handedly killed the entire Swiss watch industry. Oddly enough, what saved the Swiss watch industry, you're not going to believe what it was. It was the Swatch watch. Because the gentleman in charge at the time said, you know what, we're going to fight fire with fire, and we're going to create a Swiss quartz watch called the Swatch watch. And all the proceeds went back into the kitty, and they saved brands. If it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be brands like Blancpain, Glashütte, and many Breguet, and many others that would have died.
Interesting. I did not know that story.
And now imagine, that's like remember, did you have a BlackBerry before?
Yes, of course.
And I swore by my BlackBerry, and I would never get rid of my BBM Messenger and all that stuff. And then the iPhone came out.
Yep.
And what happened to the BlackBerry?
Game over. They made a movie about it. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen a movie.
I didn't see the movie.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. How about, this one's.
This is the one that said it was going to kill off the Swiss watch industry when they came out in 2004, I think.
Did it 14. At all impact it? At all?
Zero impact.
And they said it was going to.
Oh, yeah. They thought this was going to be the next quartz crisis. I bought one of them. I didn't get rid of my fancy watch. I had it on the other wrist, and then I realized I have enough notifications in here. Do I really need my wrist buzzing now? I'm good. And I took it off.
You don't wear it anymore.
I don't wear it.
I bought one. I wore it for about 2 weeks, and I never wore it again.
Same, exactly. 2 weeks.
Yeah, I
exactly
couldn't do
2
it.
weeks.
And by the way, my son, it's somewhere in the, I don't even wear it anymore.
Did you see that comedian that told a joke about the whoop?
No.
His name is Modi. Funny ass guy. He goes, these young people, I don't understand. I'm on a beach. I see this guy, and he goes, I'm like, what time is it? He goes like, oh, my watch doesn't tell time. He's like, well, what is it? It's a whoop. Find him. There it is. That's it. Oh my God, that's the most hilarious thing ever.
Small generational differences. Little things. I wear a watch. Oh. I always wear. Since I was 13, I've worn a watch. Millennials don't wear watches. It's true. Apple Watch is not a watch, sweetheart. Checking your emails on your wrist is a cry for help. That's not a watch.
Oh, wait for it.
The summer begins. We're on the beach. I see Leo with a black watch. I go, Leo, what time is it? Because it doesn't tell you the time. Your watch doesn't tell you the time. It's not a watch. It's a whoop. A whoop? What does it tell you? It says, it tells you how you're doing. I said, well, I look at my wrist. I see a gold Rolex. I know I'm doing good.
I saw this guy live. He's hilarious.
What time it is.
Good for him. You were saying.
Yeah, so
you had it for 2 weeks and you got rid of it as well. Same here. Let's go to the next one. So that's Joe Biden. Here's Trump.
Vacheron Constantine. I mean, this is most likely, again, something that was actually probably given to him. I would imagine this is something, because this looks like they did a remake of this watch, right? And this looks like the original watch from 1968. This must have been passed down to him from someone. Every so often, they'll do a remake. They'll take historical watches. They call it the Historique Collection. They're dubbing this to be the Historique. I think this is actually one of the original ones from 1968.
Is this a popular watch or not necessarily?
It's not.
Okay, go to the next one. How about this one?
Patek Philippe Ellipse. Now, the Ellipse, and this is the smaller version of it, this is what was known as the old man's watch. This was the Patek's answer to the big chunky gold watch to show off kind of thing. Never really took off, was never popular. In fact, there's an Ellipse out there, with the exception of a few rare ones, that sells way below its original price.
What does it sell for today if I wanted to get one?
If I wanted to buy that, if I was to buy that today, they put a market price of $16,000 on it, I would be a buyer below 10.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Wow. Go to the next one, Rob.
Well, the president.
They date.
Okay, so this is an old date. It's 18038, right? And you have quick set dates, and you have not quick set where you have to turn the thing, right?
Yeah.
So a non-quick set today, wholesale price, depending on condition, that bracelet looks beat to shit. Depending on condition, it's anywhere wholesale price to buy anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000, sell for around 15, 16. I would pay Donald Trump $1 million for his.
For his?
Yes.
That's a different story.
Yes.
Keep going, Rob. Keep going, Rob. Who do we have next? I think this is Obama now. Let's see what he's got.
Your gray. I mean, Obama historically worn what we like to call fashion watches, right? These are well-made watches. They're not made to the highest standards. So some of the stuff was made in China, like movements. A lot of them are quartz, and they're basically cheap, good-looking watches, hence they're called fashion watches. So this is not a significant watch.
Means nothing. It just looks good. You buy it,
exactly.
$390. Let's see the next one.
Now, this is a Rolex Cellini. These are no longer made. This is the Rolex's stepchild, as I like to call it. So when people say, are there such thing as unpopular Rolexes? This would be it. This is their way to show it.
Unpopular Rolexes.
Remember, Rolex was always what? A tool watch, right? Original, back 50 years ago, 60 years ago, this was a tool watch. You needed to tell the time. You needed to measure somebody's pulse, right? That's what they use them. They use it for a tool, right? They're also waterproof. That's how the whole thing started with the oyster case. This was their attempt at doing a dressier Rolex, because every single Rolex is sporty, right?
And it flopped. It didn't do
so
well.
this was a collaboration with Cellini for many, many years, and now they actually replaced it with a 1908 or something they called a new model. Looks very similar. When you want a Rolex, that's not a Rolex you flex in, and that's why it's not popular.
Interesting.
Because you can tell a Rolex from a move away. Would you be able to tell that's a Rolex if I remove
not
the
at
brand?
all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all. Keep going. Obviously, that's a $40 timeless watch. He's probably trying to win an election.
I
with that
don't
watch.
listen. This is, and then mind you, this was a man that spent $25,000 to $40,000 on cowboy boots, but yet he spent what
$40 on a watch.
$40 on a watch.
Wow, 25 to 40.
But that's a flex. Think about it. That's a reverse flex. Obviously, comes from a well-off family, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's got a ton of money. Where's $25,000 cowboy boots? But putting on a $20 watch with it, there's a bit of a flex to that. I feel like
it's an indirect flex.
Exactly.
Keep going, Rob. Keep going, Rob. Clinton.
So Lang & Söhne, or Lang & Sons, Richard Lang Pour Lemery manual wine. So market price, $80,000. No, it's not. Probably picked this watch up in the low 20s, low to high 20s. Again, original retail on this watch was somewhere around the $40,000 price range, and you'll find them on a secondary anywhere from 30 to 40 off.
Wow.
I don't know who came up with 80 grand.
Well, he overpaid for it. Bill, come on, Bill.
I don't think he
should
paid
have
for it.
Hillary negotiate it.
I don't think he paid for it.
If Hillary would negotiate, he wouldn't pay nothing. But keep going. Let's go to the next one, Rob.
Would the salesperson still be around?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. How about this?
So Jaeger-LeCoultre master compressor. This was a diving watch. So Jaeger-LeCoultre, or Jaeger as we call it in English, they were known as a watchmaker's watchmaker. Their watches are very reasonably priced when it comes to their retail price, because they make all their movements. A lot of the companies in Switzerland, they use other factories to create movements for them. And they were big on a Navy SEAL kick and diver watches. This is part of the master.
Who would know what watch this is? Like who? In what space would people know what watch this is?
With watch guys, probably 7 out of 10 people would know. It has a distinctive profile. If you see the two big crowns, see the red things?
I see the two
red,
red,
that means they're open. So like you have to actually close them so you can go diving. So, and market price on this watch today is probably on the secondary, probably maybe $5,000 to $6,000.
Would military guys own this or no? It's got nothing. Okay, got it.
Especially Navy guys or SEALs.
Got it. Keep going, Rob. This is Reagan, Rolex.
Okay, so a plain old Datejust, no date. This is the cheapest Rolex that one could buy at the time. This is still the cheapest Rolex one can buy. Today's market price, again, not Reagan's, on a watch like this would anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000. This is that beginner Rolex where you don't have a big bank that people call us for, say, hey, just let me get an old Datejust.
Got it.
That was the watch I first owned. I paid $1,000.
Yeah,
not
really?
that very one. There's
I
a
know,
lot of
but you
variation.
own one. That's
Yes.
cool. So here's where it gets interesting with John F. Kennedy's. So he's got this one. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, it's an old Omega from the 60s. Most of them look like that.
For $350,000 in 05? Does that make sense to be that expensive?
Well, it's because of Kennedy.
Got it. Jackie
The,
Kennedy.
you know the sneaker scandal that I had?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
offered me $50,000 for those sneakers. I paid $9,000. I mean, they're still in my office. I didn't sell them.
The Trump sneakers.
The Trump sneakers,
Yeah.
the ones that he signed, and they
Yeah.
created that whole, I
Yeah.
called it Sneaker Gate. I was dubbed the Russian oligarch and all that stuff. So those sneakers to me are priceless, and this is a Kennedy piece. And why wouldn't you want that in your museum?
That makes
if you're
sense.
Omega?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Keep going, Laura.
If it wasn't his watch, I'd probably pay $1,500 for it.
Are you familiar with this here?
Absolutely.
Well, tell us about this watch here.
So again, there's another Marilyn Monroe watch that was auctioned off. This is the Rolex. They also auctioned off a Cartier, a small little tank Cartier. After that auction and the news broke, I sold 30 of them to women because they wanted the same look and feel. And those watches traded for about $2,000. I think the Cartier fetched something also like 300 some thousand.
Is it true that this was a gift from Marilyn Monroe to Jack?
Who knows?
By the way, that's May 29th of 62. She died 2 months later.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't like the watch.
Or maybe the conspiracy theories are true.
Yeah. Maybe it was like, hey, why would you write something like that and give it to me? Now my wife knows, and she's going to go spend some time with Onassis. And
Yeah.
so, by the way, is there that watch? Like, has that a watch ever shown up in an auction or anything, or not really?
No.
Okay. Got it. Rob, let's see the next one here. What does it say? What would you do, Rob, right there?
I was just going to copy and paste and see if I can find the watch.
Can you do that? Let's see if that watch is ever sold. Marilyn Monroe watch, so the Rolex watch given John F. Kennedy Monroe first. Although Kennedy never wore this, and it's widely accepted that Lyndon Johnson is the president to give the timepiece its famous nickname. Marilyn Monroe made history with Rolex. What does that mean? Lyndon Johnson is the president to give the timepiece its famous nickname. What is the nickname, Rob? And since the Rolex given the president was officially the first date, although Kennedy never wore this since Wiley's one, the date that gives the ability to tell it's her first watch. Yeah, but I'm trying to see if there's any link between it or any credibility behind the story that she gave it to.
A lot of it's going to be hearsay.
Monroe gift made it to our radar, but that wasn't the only president in the White House. There were a handful of other presidents with an expensive watch. The original date, also known as the president, came in at 18,000. Interesting, 18K.
So the nickname they're referring to is that they nicknamed the watch the president. So the watch that you're wearing, the nickname is the president.
Got it.
That's what you're asking.
So I'm asking to see if she actually gave that watch to him. Reporter JFK told his aide to get rid of this watch and the note, and it successfully stayed out of the public eye for more than 4 decades before hitting the auction in 05 and selling for $120.
It's worth a lot more than that today.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
A lot more.
Wow. So there is some credibility behind this watch.
Yeah.
So go back to the list, Rob. I think we got a couple more left before we wrap up on that here. So this is Eisenhower. This is FDR. Do you recognize that watch, or that's just
It's a Tiffany & Co. watch. So Tiffany & Co., again, humongous retailer. You have to remember that while Rolex is king today, that wasn't the case many, many years ago. So
they were king back then?
Well, you had a lot of retailers that were kings, right? And that's why you have Tiffany stamped Pateks and Tiffany stamped Rolexes that date back to those times, and they sell for stupid money because there's very little of them. But Tiffany & Co. was a big name, and guess what? Everybody wanted a piece of the pie, just like today. They wanted to jump into the game. They had a good enough name to sell it. If tomorrow you decide to make a PBD watch, you have enough of a following, well, you'll sell some watches, right? It's the same concept. Guys, I get 1 million DMs a day. You guys are asking me, how do I get into the watch industry? Well, I've been doing this for 22 years. I don't have time to answer 1,000 DMs a day. I try my best. However, all those questions can be asked of me on Minect, and all the proceeds from those will go to my charity.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.